مرحبا بكم في بودكاست بوابة، ضيوف متميزين وخبراء في شتى المجالات، حوارات ونقاشات بلا فلتر فيها متعة وإفادة. كل جمعة موضوع جديد وضيف جديد مع 7:30 بتوقيت المغرب، فكونوا في الموعد وما تنسوش المتابعة والمشاركة. بودكاست بوابة.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to a new episode from Bawaba Podcast. Tonight we are going to delve into the inspiring journey of a remarkable lady who embodies resilience, positivity, and the transformative power of mindset. 2 decades ago, she triumphed over cancer without medical intervention, an achievement fueled by her unwavering attitude. Her personal journey served as a catalyst for both personal and professional transformation and aiding others in their health challenges. Join us, ladies and gentlemen, as we dive deeper into Alexi Brace's amazing narrative marked by resilience, compassion, and a steady dedication to uplifting others on their journeys to health and happiness. Hi, Alexi. I'm very glad to have you. Hello. I'm very glad to have you on the show, and thank you so much for being with us tonight.
I am delighted to be here. Absolutely delighted.
Thank you so much. So before diving into this special journey with you, can you tell us about what do you do in life as a profession?
As a profession, I promote happiness levels because according to the recent happiness project that comes out every year, the happiness levels on the planet have plummeted 24% in the last 4 years, which is monumental, resulting in more anxiety, depression, suicide, especially among our youth. I promote happiness skills for everybody to improve their mental and emotional well-being, because there's always something to be grateful for. Instead of complaining, be grateful.
Yeah, sure. That's very remarkable, and this becomes a need actually for especially for the new generation. Those are immersed with a kind of new stress in their personal life. So you are based in Ontario, Canada, and you provide guidance and training in terms of happiness and well-being. What inspired you to become a happiness speaker and promote love, joy, gratitude, and peace?
Well, actually, it happened quite by accident. I used to freelance as a chef working at remote fishing lodges across Canada in the summer months, 3 to 4 months. And in one particular lodge, I was there for 4 summers. The guests were 95% of the guests were returning fishermen who are now bringing their grandchildren. So they had been around for many years. And so I would go out and chat with them after or during their dinner time. Well, I'm certainly not going to talk about fishing. So I started telling jokes. And so then I learned that I really had that gift to make people laugh. And so when I came back the next year, when the fishermen saw that I was back again, they go, "Oh, Alexi, do you have some jokes?" And so I started accumulating them over the years. And so then I realized that one of my core values was bringing joy to people. And of course, happiness was the perfect tool for me. And so I was fortunate enough to be accepted in a Happy for No Reason training program, which opened the whole new doors to me to promote happiness using joy, love, peace, gratitude, kindness as tools, because it is something everybody can use and most people are lacking of or don't know what to do or how to do it. So that's how I started in the happiness journey.
Yeah, that's a very interesting job, helping people get a kind of a normal level of happiness in their personal life. So as I said in the introduction, you had cancer 20 years ago, and you were able to defeat it without medication. Can you talk very briefly about this experience and the journey it takes to overcome cancer?
Well, for me, I'll never forget it. It was that phone call. The phone rang. It was Monday of the turn of the century. So, Monday morning, 9:00, the year 2000. And the voice at the other end said, "You have cancer. We want to book you in for your surgery." Dead silence. I don't know how long it was, 5 seconds, 10 seconds more. And I knew as I hung up the receiver and said, "Thank you," I knew then, so I remember that so vividly, I was going to beat it. I didn't know how, but I knew I was going to beat it. So I hung up the receiver. So now remember, 20 years ago, the availability of the internet is not what it is today. So I delved into bookstores and libraries, researching health and cancer and diet, which was totally a new field to me. I knew nothing about it. And so I made some lifestyle changes, but also in my mind, I'm going to beat it. I'm going to beat it. I'm going to beat it. There was no doubt in my mind. And positive mindset is so powerful. Like the famous saying, if you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're also right.
Yeah.
So whether you want to win that race, whether you want to be a best-selling author, whether you want to conquer cancer, whether you want to meet Mr. Right, the mindset, it's totally mindset. And like thinking back over the years, I've always had that positive mindset. If I wanted to do something, I went ahead and did it. Like, for example, as silly it may sound, but for an 8-year-old, I sold the most Girl Guide cookies in my school. Because I was determined I was going to do it. There was some prize at the end. I can't remember what it was. And then in high school, I sold the most chocolate bars because I knew I was going to do it in my whole school. So little things along the way, like I beat cancer. I've had, another unfortunate health experience, but I was going to beat it and find another way, which obviously actually did lead me down the road to finding happiness and the happiness program.
Yeah. That's, very remarkable, and it's very interesting the way you were determined to defeat and overcome cancer, which is it's not an easy condition. It's not doable for anyone, for everyone. So
true.
The difference between that Someone can do something or cannot is mindset. It's all about the way he sees or she sees that kind of situation. So, what are some common misconceptions about happiness?
People think that happiness is an accumulation of material things. When I am the CEO of the company, when we have a second home up in the cottage country, when we buy the boat, when we have a better car, when we can go on holidays 3 times a year, it's all externally referenced, usually related to increased finances. But that doesn't bring you happiness. Happiness, as they say, is an inside job. What brings you that sparkle of life, of laughter, of happiness, of joy inside? Whether you're sharing a smile with a stranger, whether you offer somebody a compliment, whether you buy the person in line a cup of coffee, whether you make a phone call to a long lost friend and saying, "I really appreciate you. It's been many years. This is what I really like about you." It's always doing something for another person that you reap the happiness as well as the person that is receiving.
Very interesting. And so happiness is can never be related to material things. Like money, like having a good house or a new car, but happiness can be made of very little things, and for sure, happiness is should be perceived in a way that is immaterial, not related to things, but related to maybe the surroundings, the environment in which we live, the people with whom we live, whom we know. So why do you think happiness levels have decreased by 25% in the last 4 years, leading to more anxiety, depression, and maybe suicide?
Well, part of it is to blame on the pandemic and COVID. You know, people lost their jobs. They were tied up at home. There was no opportunities to socialize with friends. We were all sort of little hermits in our own little bubble at home. That really had a significant impact. And as a result, people's priorities have changed. Their lifestyle isn't what it used to be. And also part of it is media. We are bombarded with negativity because good news doesn't sell. You know, look at on the screen, the movies, the music. It's all negative. It's all loud noises, loud sounds, all negativity. You know, sci-fi, wars, stepping into the future. You know, the war in Gaza, the war in India, the war, you know, with our politicians in our own country. It's all negativity. We don't share happy, feel-good stories of kind acts of random acts of kindness that a stranger performed for somebody else, or the people that have the funds or are involved in foundations and are feeding the poor in underdeveloped countries. We don't hear about that. That's all sort of quiet news. It's all negativity that we hear.
How can we make it less impactful in a negative way?
Well, you know, every morning I wake up, you know, what act of gratitude or act of joy can I perform for somebody today? Whether it's a friend, whether it's a neighbor, whether it's a stranger, and really focus on that. Because of my reputation for sharing jokes, on my dog parks, in grocery stores, at ATM machines, at gas bars, I share a joke. Why? Because behind every face, there is a story of loss, of grief, of trauma. So for 2 minutes, I have a captive audience. They laugh out loud. It lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, raises endorphins, the feel-good hormones in your brain. And laughter has been shown to promote longevity. So they laugh out loud. They may share it with a colleague back at work, or they may go home and share with their loved one and say, you know what? I met this crazy woman at the dog park. She shared a joke, but it was really good. So that it continues. And so then people have opportunities to maybe share with a loved one or do a random act of kindness. Like say I bought a cup of coffee for somebody at the coffee shop. They may think, well, I'm going to do that too. You know, if we got involved in communities to do joint projects, you know, like for example, to clean up the mess in parks, you know, everybody's involved and then everybody takes pride in their work. So, you know, to be solo being, so connect with either one person or a community or start your own to do what can we do in our community, in our neighborhood to make it a happier, a friendlier place.
Yeah. So we can achieve that through building or trying to build that environment, environment that is full of positivity, mutual help, kindness, and happiness, of course. So how do you recommend dealing with negative emotions and challenges in a healthy and constructive way? Well,
you know, with anything that negative that happens in your life, like for example, me with my cancer, there's a lesson to be learned there. So I changed my lifestyle habits and I've been able to inspire people. Like for example, Christopher Reeves said the happiest years of his life were his last 3 years, because after his spinal injury, he became involved in the research and promoting spinal injury health to the masses. For example, the mother, unfortunately, who lost her daughter in a drunk drive accident, she started MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. So in anything negative, there's always positive, something positive to be gleaned. So if you're having negative emotions, think to yourself, what is this all about? Am I really justified in this? Or am I just being selfish? Because the other person that said so-and-so to me really hurt my feelings. Well, you don't know what they're going through. So give them the benefit of the doubt. There is I guess a saying, you either give love or you're crying out for love. So if you're saying negative things and you're angry and you're being vindictive, you are crying out for love. You may not realize it on a emotional level, on a subconscious level, but you are.
Yeah, for sure. So kindness, being kind, being helpful, being a person who is always on the front for charity, for voluntary works, for, like you said, telling jokes, a small hello or good morning would be the cause in someone else's happiness. So this is mutual happiness, love, joy. So how do you see the role of social media and technology in influencing happiness levels and mental health?
Well, there seems to be more media articles on mental health because May is Mental Health Month. People are becoming more cognizant of it, but a lot of it is, not to negate it, but a lot of it is theory based on research. But where I come from is life experiences. So, you know, I know what works because I've done the love, the joy, the whatever, not what psychiatrists say. Well, you know, there's something amiss in your brain. Maybe there is, but social media is becoming more aware of it. But I think it needs a little bit more of an uplift and more of a positive spin, pointing out the negative effects if we don't do something about our mental health, because our youth and adults are taking so many more medications for depression and for anxiety that was never there before, especially our youth, which is unheard of. Like, just totally unheard of. When I was growing up, we didn't take fentanyl, or the drug that, you know, a lot of kids overdose on, or I didn't go to the doctors because I was depressed or anxious or whatever. But, you know, you have to get to the root cause of what is causing your anxiety, depression, not put a Band-Aid on it with a miracle drug that most times doesn't work, and there's just too many side effects.
What are some practical steps that individuals can take to improve their overall happiness and well-being on a daily basis, which means the daily things we should be doing to practically improve our level of happiness and well-being?
Well, in the first place is in the morning, get up and who can I bring joy to today, and really commit to it. You know, really target a person, whether it's a colleague, whether it's your children, whether it's the barista at the coffee shop, whether it's your neighbor. Really make it a point to bring joy to at least one person a day. Then, on a weekly basis, email, preferably call a person you haven't spoken to in 6 months, 6 years, 16 years. And just check in and say, hey, how you doing? And mention to them one thing that you are grateful for that they did for you or you did together that you really appreciate. Yeah. And at the end of the day, what I do is I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for. And each day it has to be something different.
Yeah, each day.
Don't repeat. And then you really, every day, each day, each night, every 3 things that you're grateful for. Whatever you did, whether it's for yourself or for another person. And so make it a practice that by the end of my first month, say it's 30 days, that I will have 90 thank yous in there, or 90 appreciations about something I did. But next month, they have to be different. You don't repeat the same thing. And it really gives you a different perspective, because you'll sit down at the end of the day and think, okay, so what did I do today that I really am appreciative, that I'm grateful for, that I put a smile on somebody's face? And so then you start really making a conscious effort when you get up in the morning. Like I said, who am I going to bring joy to today, to really focus on it. And it really makes a huge, huge difference.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And me too. I'm learning from you, Alexi. It's very interesting to think about making someone or contributing in someone else's happiness on a daily basis. And this kind of acts doesn't take a lot from us. It can be a word. It can be a simple hello, a simple good morning. How are you doing? It's not that big, and it doesn't. It brings joy to that person, and it also brings joy to us, and it becomes a habit, a daily habit. This is very interesting. And we as Arabs, we have a phrase, something like help to get happy or to become happy. Sa'id tasad. So happiness is related in a way or another to helping others. When you help, you get
Absolutely.
that feeling of satisfaction, of recovery, maybe from anxiety or stress, or it's like a drug that we need to take every day. That's dose of kindness and that thing we do for the others to make them happy and contribute in their well-being. We have one last question for you, Alexi. That is, what are some resources or tools that you recommend for individuals looking to improve their happiness and overall well-being?
Well, there's some of the tools, things that make you happier or more mentally stable. You know, there's mindfulness, there's the martial arts like Qigong, Tai Chi, self-care. What do you do for yourself for self-care? There's a lot of books on the market on happiness with respected individuals. There's happiness podcasts exclusively. Dr. Huberman comes to mind. The mindfulness group, the heart math group, teaches you about the breathing and focusing on the positivity. I have an ebook on happiness. I'm just about finished. So if people want to email me or look me up on LinkedIn, as soon as I've done, you can definitely have a copy of it. And there's, practice happiness habits. Determine what are some happiness habits that I can do that I would like to be done for me. Being grateful, just being grateful for everything, every day, all the time, even the little things. The more gratitude or happiness is something to be shared, because the more you're going to get back. And, there's a lot of resources out there. Watch happy movies, like, for example, with Robin Williams, or Jim Carrey, the feel good, the animal stories. Like, for example, Robin Williams, I love his quote. He says, I don't know how many people I have impact on this world, but if I made at least one person happy, it would have been all worthwhile. Yeah. And one little thing that people don't take for granted, which I find is very important, is when somebody does something for you or gives you something or opens a door or whatever, don't say thanks. Say thank you. It's more personal. And if possible, call them by name. So if you're thanking the cashier at the bank or at the grocery store, ask her what her name is and say, thank you, Kathy. Thank you, John. But always thank you, not thanks. Thanks is sort of just flippant. Just little small things really make a big difference.
As you're hurrying and you don't have time, and thanks, it's not appropriate in some situations. It's very it's very important to build that kind of bridge between you and the people you are dealing with every day, the people surrounding you, and it's a good way actually to call them by name. This is one thing I learned today among the many things you told us before. So what is your advice to the people from a country, Morocco and the Arab countries, and for everyone who is watching us from all over the world?
Just happiness is an inside job manifested outwardly. So like I said, in the morning, get up. Who can I put a smile on? On whose face can I put a smile? What kind of joy can I add to just one person? And then the next day you can maybe decide you're going to do it for 2 people. And don't forget the journal at the end of the day, because you will then at the end of the day feel, yeah, I really made a difference in a few people's lives. And for that, I am grateful, because the more happiness you give outwardly, the more it comes back to you inwardly. So always think of the other person, because they're always going through some kind of story that we do not see.
Yeah, sure. So it is very reciprocal, give and get back. So
That's right.
Thank you so much for all these, pieces of advice, information, tools, resources you gave us today. And if you are given a whiteboard and you are asked to write a message for the whole world, what message should it be?
Put a smile on at least one person's face every single day.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Alexi Bracy. We are very happy to have you on the show. Hoping that it will not be the last time. This is the first and not the last. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Any last thing you might be willing to tell us?
If I could maybe share a joke.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. So, there's a plane flying across the United States from Sacramento to Chicago, and the airplane pilot comes on board and he says, the weather looks good. We shouldn't have any problems. We will be arriving in time. And then all of a sudden he says, oh, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I just got a notice from headquarters that we have to make an emergency stop just to check one little thing. It won't take more than an hour. So when the plane stops, everybody disembark and go and wait at the loading dock. And so everybody gets off, and there's still one passenger remaining, and he's sitting in his seat with obviously a seeing eye dog underneath him. And obviously he's a regular passenger, because the pilot walks by him and he says, Keith, he says, do you want to get out and stretch your legs? And Keith says, no, he says, I'm okay, but if you don't mind, take my dog out just for a little stretch. And so picture this. The people are waiting at the loading dock. They see the pilot leaving the airplane with sunglasses with a seeing eye dog. Not only did people scramble to change their flight, they wanted to change their airlines. And this is a true story.
Thank you so much. It's very unique. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm very grateful for accepting the call to be with us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, أعزائي المشاهدين، شكرا لحضوركم معنا. موعدنا الأسبوع المقبل مع حلقة جديدة من بودكاست بوابة.
مرحبا بكم في بودكاست بوابة، ضيوف متميزين وخبراء في شتى المجالات، حوارات ونقاشات بلا فلتر فيها متعة وإفادة. كل جمعة موضوع جديد وضيف جديد مع 7:30 بتوقيت المغرب، فكونوا في الموعد وما تنسوش المتابعة والمشاركة. بودكاست بوابة.